Welcome to Lyfistry's Artistry monthly program. Today, we are going to listen a beautiful topic about the women empowerment, the skill of women empowerment from Mrs. Nidhi Bhaguna. We welcome you, ma'am, to the show. Welcome. A brief introduction about Mrs. Nidhi Bhaguna. She is a social media activist. She's an author, social worker, joint secretary for Lions Club, Missouri Hills, secretary LNS Club, Missouri Hills, women activities coordinator, Bharatiya Vikas Parishad, secretary, Antarashtriya Sahyog Parishad, and member of Jammu Kashmir Studies Center and Asian Human Rights Forum. Welcome you, ma'am. We are eager to hear because it's a very beautiful topic, and both men and women equally want to listen about the women empowerment. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Namaste, and thank you so much for inviting me for this. And this is a topic which is very close to my heart. As Vidya has told you in the introduction, I'm with lots of social activist groups. And the main theme everywhere we have is, how do we empower women? How important it is to empower women? Why should we empower women? And how a society cannot progress without empowered women. So I'm so lucky and I'm so thankful for Lyfistry to give me this beautiful stage where I can express my views. So initially, I will just start with a small presentation, so we all get an idea of exactly what all is women empowerment, what are the skills required, and what are the various facets and which are the various government schemes that can help us. Because here, I feel all of us are empowered women, and we always come across somebody who needs some information. So if you'll just wait for a second while I'll just share my screen. Just bear with me. Can you just see, Vijaya? Can you see the screen? Hello?
Not yet come, ma'am. I think it's in the process. Yes, ma'am, it came.
If you can just tell, is there?
It's there, ma'am. Yes.
So what are the skills for women empowerment? If you see the picture which I put, there are roots and there is a trunk, which is the woman, and then only you see the tree flower. So it's very important for us to have a ground on which women can grow, and then the tree of the family can get empowered. So now what is women empowerment? We always say, what is women empowerment? So UN has tried to define it, and there are certain things it is defined. So first thing it says is achievement of equality between men and women. So first thing which is women empowerment is equality between men and women. Only then women can get empowered. Then there is non-discrimination, and in all spaces there should be no discrimination in the house. There should be no discrimination at work, and there should be no societal discrimination, which is the most difficult thing, because at home we can still manage to treat girls and boys equally. At work also there are laws and there are legal things where women and men are treated equally, but it's at a societal level we have to ensure there is no discrimination between men and women. Then whatever schemes are there, government schemes, NGO schemes, UN schemes, global schemes, women have to be equal beneficiaries. Because before this, there were many schemes. Like in India, we are very lucky. We always had women franchise. We had voting for women from the time we got independent. But in countries like UK and US, women had to struggle to get the rights to even vote. So women will be empowered when they are equal beneficiaries of all the government and global schemes. Then how will a woman be empowered? That is, first of all, she has to be healthy. There has to be safety for a woman, and there has to be well-being of a woman. Till a environment can give a woman health, safety, and well-being, a woman cannot get empowered. And then promoting education for women. You have to promote development for women, and you have to promote training avenues for women. Most of us will have talents. There are ladies who are very good in dancing, but they need some training avenues to hone their dancing. Then there are ladies who are very good in singing. So how will they get empowered? Only there are training avenues for them. Some are very good in embroidery. Some are very good in cooking. Some are very good in computers. Some are very good in maths. So if you have training avenues for women, they will get empowered. And then the most important is, a woman will only get empowered if there is freedom from violence. If there is violence, if there are riots, if the country is unsafe, so, or there is violence at home, there is violence in society, a woman, even if you give her everything else, you give her equality, you give her non-discrimination, you make her equal beneficiaries of all schemes, you ensure health for her, safety for her, well-being, you give her education, you give her development, you give her training avenues. But if there is a threat of violence, the women will never get empowered. What we are seeing in Afghanistan right now, the greatest threat is the threat of violence. And that is why even if we give everything else to the women, they will not get empowered. Now, what does women empowerment do? Why is it so important? Why are we discussing women empowerment today? Number one, women empowerment will promote self-worth. If I'm empowered, if with listeners who are listening, they have a self-worth. Once you know you're worth something, then you will make efforts to achieve your goals. But if you feel you're worthless, you will not do anything. Then you have to, women empowerment will give you ability to make choices. Only an empowered woman will make a choice. Our daughters today are empowered, so they make a choice. What career they want, whether they want to get married, when they want to have children, whom they want to get married to, which career will they choose, where will they buy the house. So all these choices will come. The ability will come to make choices only if you are empowered. If you're not empowered, you can never make a choice. Then when a woman has got self-worth, she has got ability to make choices. Then social change takes place. Now in India, we've had lots of women leaders. So when we saw their self-worth, we see their ability to make choices. So these women will bring social change. In our families, we are bringing social change. Our mothers brought social changes. Our grandmothers brought social changes. They had early marriages, but because they were empowered, then they let us study and get married at a normal age. Now our daughters may want to get married, may not want to get married, or they may put their career before marriage. All these social changes are possible because women are empowered and they are helping in these social changes. And then a progressive society is created when women are empowered. Like now in India, we used to be a very progressive society. Then women empowerment took a backseat. Women got the status of the second-rate citizen, and the society became very illiberal. Now women are again getting empowered, and we can see that our society is getting very progressive. So it is very important for a nation to have empowered women. Now let me say, what are the skills required for women empowerment? Number one is empathy. What is empathy? The first thing is, first we have to have sympathy or empathy with ourselves. Women have to have empathy with the other women. The lady who comes to our house to do housework, we have to empathize with her. If we empathize with her, we can empower her. We come to know her husband drinks and beats her up. We can help her get some sort of a legal aid or some sort of a help. We can help her children study. We can help them get scholarships. So empathy is very important. Then empathy of policy makers for women is very important. Only when we have a government which is very empathetic to women will they make policies which will help women. So it is very important. Then when our husbands have empathy for the wives, they will always empower women. If they feel for their wives, if they feel my wife is very talented, but she is having to stay at home, She is having to take care of children. She cannot explore her talents. If they empathize with the wife, they will surely find a way to help the wife get empowered. If the mother-in-law empathizes with the daughter-in-law, the women will get empowered. The daughter-in-law empathizes with the mother-in-law, the society will, again, women empowerment will take place. So empathy is very important at all levels. If you are a boss in the office, you empathize with the other women workers, you will always empower them. Policy makers have to empathize with women. Husbands, fathers, sons, everybody has to empathize with women. Brothers have to empathize with sisters. So if we have empathy for each other, women will get empowered. It is very, very important. Mostly this skill we have to develop, and we have to encourage this skill. Then education, we all know education, it's very important. Without education, you cannot do anything. Now, if a girl is educated, it is a fact, it has been proven by research, an educated woman educates the whole family. Then she has less children. Then once she has less children, there is more prosperity. And slowly the whole family comes out of poverty, and the whole family progresses if the woman is educated. Also, if she's educated, she can take care of, she can do her bank work, she can do finances, she can do so much more. And then she becomes an empowered woman who helps out her family, who takes care of her children, and who can guide her children for their career choices. So education is very important. Primary education is important. Then there is higher education. The higher the woman is educated, the more empowered she is. With education also, I'll say awareness is very important. There are so many government schemes for women, but most of us are not aware of those schemes. So today, I will try to tell you, at least educate all the listeners here of the schemes that are available for women. So if I don't need to use, if you don't need to use, but there may be somebody else who may have to use. So through our empathy and through our education, we can help the women to get empowered. Then third is skill development. It is very, very important to have a skill. So nowadays, maximum you talk to people who are recruiters, who are offering jobs. The first thing they say is that there is no skill in people. We have done our BA, we have done our MA, but there is no skill in us. So if you develop some skill, like you do your BEd, then you can teach. If you do something else, if you do say if you know how to draw very well, and you do a course in drawing, so you can go get a job. If you're good in singing, if you're good in dancing, you can have a business. If you're good in cooking, you can start your own restaurant. So any skill, any kind of skill, it's very important. Like even a computer skill is very important. You can do so much. So skill development is very, very important for women empowerment. And whatever skill you have, we have to understand our skills. We have to see what we are good at. If you're good in writing, you can become a journalist, you can become an author, you can become a blogger. You can do so much. So you can get empowered if you develop whatever skills you're born with, or you learn a skill and you develop it. And you help people to develop. And the fourth most important skill required for women empowerment is mentoring. Mentoring means we have to guide people. We also need mentoring. So there is a government that mentors you. It makes policies for you. It makes institutions where you can get, education, you can get skill development. And then when you start getting a job, there are many more mentoring skills. So if we are the boss, we mentor our lady workers. As mothers, we mentor our daughters. As elder sisters, we mentor our younger sisters. In school, we mentor our classmates. So this way, we start mentoring each other, and only then women will get empowered. Now let me come to it's little boring, but it is very important. Government has had many schemes for women empowerment. So both with empathy, they're sympathizing with women. They've understood what problems are facing women, and then they are making policies. The only lacuna is that the people who need these policies, they do not know. So as women who are we are lucky, we are in a situation in our lives where we meet people who need these. So if we know about the schemes, we can help empower women. The first is Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This I will put in the empathy and education. So first you empathize with womanhood. So first empathize that if a daughter is born, she has to be saved. She doesn't have to be killed, or she doesn't have to be killed as a fetus. So the first step we as a nation, we as a society took is that we have to save betis. So when we began doing this, initially there was a lot of resistance, but now we find that the gender ratio of India, it is in many states, daughters are child are more than the male child. So initially it was that if you had a daughter, you didn't want another daughter, but now slowly this mindset is on the way out. There's a big battle on, but we should, with empathy and education, tell everybody beti bachao and then beti padhao. As I said, which uneducated girl, an educated woman is an asset for the whole nation. So now after that, for poor people, for poor women, for poor girl child, there is Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana. The minute a girl child is born, the government puts some money for her in the bank, and then when the girl child is 18, the girl child gets that money. So it's like an FD. So we have to tell our workers, our poor people whom we know, that don't worry, don't feel bad if your daughter is born. If your daughter is born, government will give so much money. Then there are lots of victims of abuse. They are, because India, there is lots of violence. As I said, where there is violence, there is no empowerment. So they are victims of terrorism. They are women whose husbands were terrorists. They are women who were in the Naxalite area, who have nobody to take care of them. They are victims of domestic abuse. They are victims of trafficking. So there is a one-stop center scheme. Any woman who is a victim of abuse can go there, and she gets help for rehabilitation. So we can tell people, if we know in every district there is one-stop center scheme, we can check online, and if we find that we know anybody who's a victim of abuse, that women can be taken there. Now women are educated, they're getting jobs, but where is the safety? So they may not be getting so much money where they can rent houses or something. So there is a working women hostel scheme. This scheme says that in every district there's going to be a working women hostel. So that will provide safety, as well as that will provide a cheap place for women to stay, and where they can earn money and they can stay in the hostel. So this working women hostel scheme is there. We can find about it. We can tell people who are lots of girls are scared to leave their homes and go out and work. But if there is a working women hostel in that place, they can go there and they can stay in the working women hostel and they can pick up a job. Now, Swadhar Griha. Now, there are lots of women who are from very adverse backgrounds. They may be widowed. They may have been abandoned by their husbands. As I said, their husband might have been terrorists, or their husbands might have been criminals who are jailed. So what happens to those women? Where do they get help from? So there is a government scheme called Swadhar Griha. So they are every Griha has 30 women. So they keep these women there. They teach them some skills. They give them a roof over their heads. They give them food, and they give them dignity, so that later they can work on their own. They can find some employment, and then they can rebuild their lives. Then there are Mahila Shakti centers. These are made in rural areas, and these are run by adolescent girls and young girls from the cities. So these girls, they are volunteers. They get some money for this honorariums, like from college girls and all. They go to the villages, and there they talk to the women, and they help them to develop skills, and they help them in getting loans, and they help them in any way where they can be empowered. So Mahila Shakti centers are being opened in all the panchayats and in all districts. Now there is a Ujjwala scheme, not the scheme, do not confuse it with the gas scheme where women are getting free gas, chullas and subsidized gas. This Ujjwala scheme is prevention of human trafficking, where women are getting trafficked, where they are being sold as for sex, they are sold into prostitution, or they are sold into labor. So they are prevention of human trafficking. Under this scheme, lots of women have been rescued. So this again is a scheme for women empowerment, because women may come from rural areas to urban areas where they get into these human trafficking webs. So this again a government scheme where we can tell people about them. Now, there are another schemes is Rashtriya Mahila Kosh. It's a treasury. They made a kind of a fund where microfinance is given to women to start small scale industries, or they may just start making papad, or they may start making pickles, they may start stitching clothes. For small enterprises like this, they are given microfinance from the Rashtriya Mahila Kosh. Then there are Mahila Hearts. These are trade bazaars which are held in various areas where only women come and only women are allowed to participate, where they can make whatever they have made, they can come and sell. So this is for all, where well-off ladies, rural ladies, poor women. Mahila Hearts are there. We just have to go online and check when and where they are happening. Then there are Nari Shakti Puraskars. The government has started. So women who are doing good work, we keep on hearing, okay, this person has got Nari Shakti Puraskar. So this way, a self-esteem is built, a self-worth is built. And women also feel very encouraged when they get these Puraskars. They get some money also, especially in the rural areas. This money really helps them. Then there is Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, where women who are delivering, the mother to be, if she delivers in a hospital, she gets some money, and she gets some extra money for her nutrition from the time she conceives to the time she delivers. And for about 3 months after delivery, she gets help from the government, and she gets some money also from the government. Then there is Pradhan Mantri Shakti Kendra scheme. So they have made kendras in all the districts, where again the women can go and they get lots of schemes where they can do small jobs and they can earn money. Then there is a national creche scheme, because the biggest problem women have after marriage and they have children is where to leave the children. How will they work if the children cannot be left? So here, we women also, in case we will have NGOs or we have anything like this, we can help out. We can cooperate with the government. We can make our NGOs and we can run creches. We can do these Mahila Shakti Kendra, Mahila Matru Vandana Yojana. All these also have an element, a component where women, we can run our NGOs and help out the government. And there are lots of schemes which are coming for adolescent girls, where their nutrition needs are tried to be met, and their further studies and all, they are helped out with all that. So then there are lots of financial empowerment schemes. Now we all, suppose I want to open a business, I don't have a collateral, then what do I do? So government has lots of schemes only meant for women. So now for the well of women, they are Bharatiya Mahila Bank business loans. Here we can, if I open a business, I can get a loan up to 20 crore from Mahila Bank business loan. And that loan has a low interest rate compared to the normal bank interest rates. Now there are Mudra Yojanas, you must have heard. For women, there are schemes from where they can take from 50,000 to 10 lakhs. They can get loan depending on the quality of their business. And then the collateral is very low. Now there is Mahila Udyam Nidhi schemes. Now this is loans for very small scale industries. Like I want to open a small scale industry. I do not have collateral. I cannot afford to pay for the high interest. So I get this Mahila Udyam Nidhi scheme. Then there is a Mahila Entrepreneur platform, where the government brings lady entrepreneurs and they get sponsors on one platform, and they help network and they help women get sponsors for their entrepreneurships. Then there is a Dena Shakti scheme. This is for very small businesses and all agricultural based businesses. You get very small loans in this, which are collateral free. Then there is Udyogini scheme. This is for women whose yearly income, the whole family's income is below 1.5 lakhs, but they want to do something, Udyogini scheme. So they get a loan up to 3 lakhs without collateral. And there is Sant Kalyani scheme. Again, if you open a medium business, so you get collateral free loans. So these are the few schemes. And then I will say, all of us, there is no force equal to a woman who is determined to rise. So if we are determined to rise, there is nothing in the world that can stop us from rising. So this was my presentation. I'll just stop sharing screen. Stop. And I will just come back to Zoom. So this was my presentation. Any questions you have to ask, or you want me to elaborate, or anything I can elaborate? Because
Yes, ma'am. It's really wonderful to know, because most of the people doesn't know. Like even I don't know. Like more than 80% of the schemes which the government is sponsoring. But if I have to ask a question, how would people know that all these schemes are available? What is the source that they go and search? Is it like internet, or what is the point of contact for this all these schemes to avail?
yeah, so when we are running all these, we are helping people get these schemes. So what we do in Mussoorie is, first of all, we approach a ward member. So schemes like Sukanya Samriddhi, Matru Vandana, many of these schemes, the ward member will help you get them. Now, if the ward member is not there, if you're in the rural areas, so it's your panchayat that gives. Most of these schemes are automatic. Now, suppose your one woman gets pregnant and she is in the lower caste, like suppose your lower economic scale, like suppose the servant who comes to my house, she gets pregnant, and then she goes to a government hospital. We tell her to go to the government hospital. So the minute she goes there, she is automatically with her Aadhaar card. She has an Aadhaar card. So we have to ensure that everybody has an Aadhaar card. So automatically the Aadhaar card is linked to the hospital, and then automatically she gets linked to the Pradhan Mantri Yojana. That is one very good thing. So automatically she starts getting her supplements. And if that has to be a government hospital, not a private hospital. In private hospitals, this doesn't work. So you go to a government hospital. So you tell the servants and all that, you go to a government hospital, get registered there. You deliver in a government hospital. So when you deliver, the hospital themselves give you the money. They make you sign a register, and the women is given the money. I think it's about 2,000 rupees or something like that at the time of delivery. Plus she is given some money per month. It comes directly into her bank account. If they have a Jan Dhan account, everybody has. So the money comes directly now into her Jan Dhan account. So her money comes automatically. So the Matru Yojana is automatic. Now, Beti Padhao, suppose that the girl child is born, then when you go for a birth certificate, so Sukanya Samriddhi kicks in then. So once you go for the birth certificate, the Sukanya, you have to fill the form. That is where the ward member helps, or the hospital people help, and the person who is in the rural areas, the panchayat helps. So this is an automatic process, because if you have had a child, you have had a girl child, then the Samriddhi Yojana kicks in. You have to fill the form. So these people help them fill up the form. And the mother, nobody can access the money till the child is 18. So, and then once you enroll your child in school, then the other schemes kick in, like adolescent scheme and all, they kick in once the child is enrolled in a government school, not private schools. That's the lacuna. So we have to tell them to come into these government schools. So these schemes kick in automatically. If there's a problem, then we have to approach the ward member of the locality. So we do that, like our club does that. We go to the hospitals, and then we find everything is very smooth. It is really because everything is now, all the money is coming directly to the bank account of the women. So during COVID, all the women, the poor women, they got 500 rupees in the account per month for 3 months. So then we found the schemes work. So we have to just tell our servants that if you, or the poor people or the laborers we see around, that you go to a government hospital, or go to the ward member, or go to the panchayat member, they will do this work for you. Now for the other schemes, like the Mudra scheme. So for the Mudra scheme, we have to go to the bank. And then there are forms, you have to fill up the forms. And if there's any problem, then we again have to approach the ward members. And what we do is we also approach our, the various political party offices. So most of the political party offices, if you approach them, they will not say no. They will also have camps for these women to fill up all these forms, like Mudra scheme, below 50,000. So lots of women filled up those schemes. So, and they keep on having these camps. So only thing is we just have to be aware as an education awareness. So sometimes you're on TV, you'll find this. The government is running camps. So go there and get them. Tell them to go and get. I keep on telling everybody that don't get scared. Nobody's going to touch you. Just go there, go to the ward member, ask him to help out. Mostly through government hospitals, through schools, through public banks. There are 3 places where all these schemes are getting benefits. And any problem, we go on the net and we'll find out. Now for the Udyami schemes, for the women Udyami, that you have to go on the net and find out. And there are forms, you fill up those forms and you will get whatever help you want, you'll get from there. Then every city and a district, not like in Mussoorie where I stay, I'll tell you my experience. We have a Kaushal Kendra, which is run by the government. So they run stitching centers there. So you don't have to, I think you just have to pay a very minimal amount. So we just tell the girls to go there. They have a time daily. So they teach them stitching. And after that, they teach them, they help them to get jobs also, and they help them to get orders from factories. So that's a government sponsored scheme. Most of the towns are having it. It is called Kaushal Kendras. They teach them how to make, like in Mussoorie, they're teaching them to make, there's a traditional rangoli. So they're teaching them to make that, and then they're selling it to the tourists. And then also they're teaching them knitting. And lots of NGOs in Mussoorie, what they are doing is that the women NGOs, they buy, because these women are poor, so they have got these poor women, they've taught them to knit in these Kaushal Kendras, and they taught them to crochet. So they provide them the knitting needles because they can't afford to buy that. They provide them the wool, and then these ladies are making hand knitted clothes for children and for babies. And that's a big hit. Then many shops are keeping them, though they have also found shops where they are selling them. And then these ladies get a good amount per month. And they are really hot in demand. And now many enterprising ladies who have opened NGOs, they have also gone online and they made websites where they are making on order also. So like it's really become a very hot selling item in Mussoorie now. And lots of poor women through our clubs and through the NGOs, they are making money via knitting in their houses. And now they are also getting confident because they're earning about say 4,000-5,000 a month just sitting in the house doing nothing. So doing nothing means just using the time for knitting. But then we have to skill them first, as I said. And then the third thing which we are doing is that our traditional food in Mussoorie. This is like, these are experiences which I can tell because we have done it. So there is a lady here who runs an NGO called Matri Shakti. So what she did was that she found the whatever traditional food of the mountains. She got these women, they know how to make it. So they make snacks, and then she provides them the ingredients and she pays them per dish. They make the snacks and the snacks are sold to tourists. And then in schools, I found all the government school, we have these from making something from waste. So the girls make beautiful stuff from bottles, from plastics, from leftover cloth. They made such beautiful things like clocks and all they'll make. They'll make beautiful artificial plants. And then when this season comes in Mussoorie, so the teachers help them. We provide them the waste material and we give them sequins and small stuff like, glue and all, because they can't afford it. So then they go and sell it. Their parents will put a small, a vendor, they'll put it's called patri. So they'll go on the patri, they'll put a cloth and they'll put all these items and sell them. And they make money. So it is, what I'm saying is it's very important. Empathy, education, skill development, and government schemes. All 4 will work together and we can empower women. Any other questions would you like to ask me?
Yes, ma'am. Like the schemes and so far we have talked, whatever we have spoken, we discussed or you have said, it is about the women who are economically in a lower state right now. So there are women who are empowered in the sense very modern, they're like on their own, they're earning well, and even the husbands are modern and even in the high society then, but there are abuses going on. even in those, like, so how can we empower? Because these people, they can approach whomever, like their owners, or some people whom they found trust in. But when they're in a little high society, or because I do counseling, I had seen the women coming to me and seeking counseling to how to come over it. They can't open up in front of anyone. So in such cases, how would you think, like, a woman can be empowered by herself? Like, empowering is not earning, definitely. It is, how would you suggest that it can be done?
So here the women don't want to leave the husband, and they cannot do a job either. This is what you are trying to say, no? And they don't want it to come out in the open. This is what, no?
Ma'am, like,
So
I have seen some cases where the women want to do the job, but because the husband, and women is obviously like educated, highly educated, and she used to do the job for some time, but the husband doesn't want to do the job, so she has to sit quiet. So in such cases, like, how can we advise, or like, how can the schemes or anything, how can a woman get empowered by in such cases?
yeah, here then we have to seek, we have to counsel the husband also. And it is very difficult because the husband may take it out on the wife. So most of the legal places, like most of these, if you go to, say, the court, so they have these family courts. So they have now they have these. You don't have to have a case. So there is recently only this new act was passed where you can approach the legal courts without going to court. So in that they have specifically mentioned that they come and they do counseling for the women. They tell her exactly what are her legal options. In most of the cases, you don't go to court, you don't go to the police, there's no case registered, right? But if the woman is being abused in the house and she is not being allowed to come out to work, so they are, you approach the legal cells. They're opening in every district. I mean, it has to be that serious where the women actually is helpless. Most of the time we tell, like, she's getting beaten up in the house, and they're not letting her go out, or the husband is not giving her money. We've seen all that. We've seen in the best houses, the most empowered houses. So the legal cells, the Legal Services Act, the new Legal Services Act, it has got, like in Mussoorie also, it's got a branch. So you have to go to the SDM magistrate office. Or you can go online, see where this is, and put in your problem. So most of the time, a lawyer, a women lawyer will come. She will explain to you your legal rights. And if the husband is counsel, most of the time, the husband will also get scared at the thought that there may be a case on them. But that is, case to case. In some cases, we have to approach the family, family cells in the police departments. We have done it. One or two girls, we have had to go to the women thanas. Now in all thanas, they have women centers. So you go there. So even the police, most of the time, they don't want cases. They don't want FIRs. They don't want anything. So they will counsel the in-laws and they will counsel the girl. And they will try and get a compromise done. That is the problem. But somewhere a choice has to be made, If you really want to work and the family is not letting you work, then, and if they're not listening to, family, the friends, and, then maybe a little intervention from the legal services or the women Thana police. They know how to do it. I've done it for lots of women. So it is very discreet. They will tell the husband, let's see, if you don't do like this, or they'll tell the mother-in-law or the father-in-law, you see, there is a danger of 498A, that domestic violence law is there. So that law can be utilized by women. We should not misuse the law, because if we misuse it, the law may finally get amended or something, abrogated. But 498A, if the husband is really beating up the wife badly, if the husband is not letting her do what she wants. And in many cases, it is really bad. I've seen such cases. Then the only recourse is that you go to the police, take a friend, go to an NGO, the NGO will take you. There's so many women NGOs, you can approach them on phone. So you have to go online, because women of that category will be able to find some NGO online. Or you go to the legal services. They are in every district, every town. Now they're even going to the rural areas. So if you ring them up and you tell them, so they will advise you exactly what to do. They will help you out, and it will be discreet. They will try to keep your family together. Even if I've taken cases like that to the family courts, to the police station, and there's a women person there. She first tries to find a compromise between two parties, and then she continues. So most of the time, a compromise can be found. And if a compromise is found, and if these people who are treating women, they realize that there are legal recourses for the women, most of the time they back off. For well-to-do women, it is very difficult. For the not so well-to-do, they can go to the police thana and they can, ring up 100, or they can, but for well-to-do women, respectable women, as we have seen, Vijaya, we have seen many cases within the best societies, where women are being ill-treated, slapped, beaten up.
Exactly, ma'am.
But they don't want to say, because that, yeah. So there is a legal cell service. It's just, the act has been passed, I think 3 months or 4 months back. And it is that without going to court, at a level of your home, cases can be sorted out. You get legal advice, and they try and give you, they try and explain to the other person also. So most of the time, even so many things are worked out like this, they're working out, and you have to approach. If the situation is very bad, there is no harm in approaching a thana along with some friend or some well-wisher, women thana, and explaining the problems. So you have to, like I said, we have to have non-discrimination and safety in the house, at workplaces, and at a societal level. So all three have to be handled. So no, I did not, I would have made a small presentation on the legal cell also, because we are doing a lot with the legal cell now. There are so many cases and so many problems they are sorting out without anything coming to the thana or the court. So we can all, I will advise everybody to Google this, the new Legal Services Act. And then you will find that how at every district, every state, every city level, they are having legal services free, and they are free. The services are free. That's the best part. You don't have to pay anything, because the women may not have access to funds, and they will exactly do. Every case is different. We cannot say at one thing. So 498 is there, where you can go to a thana if you're getting beaten up in the house, if your in-laws are treating you, even if it's not a physical abuse, if it's a mental abuse, you are being told that you are useless, you are worthless, then a woman can approach. And this is very discreet. Most of the time, the thana tries to have a reconciliation. And in many cases, maximum cases, we have seen the people back off, because it's only bullies who beat up and, who ill-treat. So once they know that lady has a backing, most of them, they may feel angry, but they will not dare to do anything. And if still that 498A, if that doesn't solve, then Legal Services Act will help you out. It's a new act, so very few people know about it. But then we had a workshop in Mussoorie, and then we learned about it. So these are the things where we can help women who are well off, who are educated, who have skills but are having problems. And then lots of women who are NGOs, we women can help out via NGOs also. This is what I was trying to say. And lots of us who are well off, who do not want to do a full-time job, we can go on the site Udyam, there's a site, and there without any money, we can even register our whatever. Suppose I want to open a small firm where I just help out people. So I just have to go and register it, and they give you a number also. You must be knowing about it. Lots of women. So they can do that. then, yeah. So there your firm gets registered without any money. And then you can open an NGO if you want somebody, and they can aid in the national crash schemes. I mean, lots of things we can do now. All these schemes which government has always has a component where a NGO can help out. So we women can also do these things. We can also start some firm and help out in these schemes and earn some money and empower ourselves and our women around us. Yeah. Anything else, Vijaya?
Yes, ma'am. And at Lyfistry, we encourage this POSH, ma'am, prevention of sexual harassment for women at workplace. So we have conducted few workshops on that, and we give the certification. And in spite of that, that has been mandatory in most of the corporates. But still, women keep facing those, and Me Too has started now. So, how do you think, we can deal with this?
It's a long battle. First, we have to be prepared for a long battle. There are no instant solutions. What you are doing is exactly what has to be done. It's a great thing which you are doing, because you're giving certification, so those ladies also are qualified now. And this is so rampant, and these people are very powerful. Corporates are powerful. Nobody wants to know that something wrong has happened. They have tried to brush it away, the first thing. But then we women have to speak, and we have to empathize with each other. Problem always also happens that within the office, the women may not get support of the other women. Everybody is scared about their jobs. So this is a problem. There are rules, but there are loopholes. So what I suggest is that we study the loopholes further. You are conducting workshops. Let us conduct more workshops. And we can have a one-to-one on people. So we know where all they are facing problems. And once you know the problem, then the policy makers can be approached. Like Me Too started, and it took so many people. Even it took, MJ Akbar, a minister, had to resign. So at a societal level, we have made it, we are trying to make it as a zero tolerance to this. It will take time. Like there was a time when men couldn't go to study. Remember? There was a time in our mothers, this thing, if a girl is 25, she would say, oh God, she's not married, now her marriage age is gone. Now at 25, we don't even think of girls to marry at 25. So these are long term. They're doing an excellent job. You must get into these more certifications. You may, get into, and just even just go and Google on the legal services, because people like you can do a lot, and you can also educate people, and maybe you can have certification on many of those things. There may be certifications for crash run opening. There may be certifications for adolescent help, helping out the adolescent girl scheme and all. So, and then only you will come to know where the women are facing problems, and then maybe a decision can be made. So CSR is there. Yes, we have so many rules, but it is still happening at workplace. And we just have to keep the pressure up and make it a zero tolerance society to women being harassed at any space. So this is the ongoing work. So more interactions like this will help. Yeah.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Definitely. It's very informative, ma'am, because especially the schemes which you have told, that's like eye-opening even for me. And I'm sure, many people who are watching this also are not aware of, the government is really sponsoring so many schemes. So how can we actually spread, what is the means that the people would know more about the schemes? Any suggestions, ma'am, on that? Because why the people are not aware?
Right now, what happens when a person needs them, the government steps in. It's like that. But then slowly, TV is building up. On TV, many times we hear these schemes. And the only way is like I have told you today. So today so the viewers will know This will be on your YouTube channel that these schemes are there. So this is the only way actually, right? Or we go to schools whenever you're doing your workshops. Maybe if you're doing a workshop on women empowerment or something, and where you are having, or you're going to schools and doing, that's the time you can tell them that these are the schemes for girls and for women, and just put a slide or just give them a flyer or something, or just give it to the principal, then the principal will photostat and give them around. Like we found that in India now women are being allowed. It's a very small thing, I'll tell you. We went to lots of girls' schools. We give motivational talks and we ask them, we ask them the problems and we tell them where all they can get employed. So we found that in girls' schools, none of the girls knew, like government schools, they didn't even know that there's something called NDA where the girls can participate. Once I told them about the scheme, then everybody wanted to fill the forms. And then they wanted to know what are the subjects, what are what, and they found that they are eligible. Then you should have seen that thrill in the principal's face. The principal also did not know. So basic problem is, as you have said very rightly, schemes are there, but there is no knowledge, or the person who needs them doesn't know about them. Like the legal services scheme, the people who can take the help don't know. So that is the problem, and that is what now we have to start. People like you who have such beautiful firms and who are doing such fantastic work, you are the people who will go further and tell people. So we just have to, like I said, educate everybody, empathize and educate. We have to educate. That is our work. Hello. Is the signal on? Hello, Vijaya. I think there is some problem with the signal, and maybe can you hear me, Vijaya?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. No, I think there is some disturbance.
There was some, yeah, but I live in Masuri and there's always a signal problem. So I think there is some problem.
Ma'am, thank you so much for everything, ma'am, all the information, and it's an excellent talk and nice having you here. Thank you for accepting, and we wish to hear more about such topics and more information about the activities which can empower women. Thank you for coming, ma'am.
And thank you for calling me, and thank you for giving me a stage to talk about these things. Thank you so much, Vijaya.